Hello, this is Raziel Cohen, the Tactical Rabbi, and today we're going to be speaking about a 5 to 25 first focal plane scope from Discovery Op. I get contacted quite often from overseas companies that want to send me optics for review, and most of the time they're not something that's usually very intriguing to me because, like a lot of other YouTubers are now starting to point out, there are people who pretty much make replicas of already what's on the market. There's a million different companies providing the exact same product just from different brand names. So being able to review those or being able to look into those are probably not going to be very worthwhile. Scopes are a little bit different in regards to there are probably many companies that are manufacturing them, but glass clarity and glass quality and performance is going to be a little bit more precise when it comes to a scope that's in the 5 to 25 category. So this company, Discovery Op, reached out to me and said they were interested in me checking out one of their scopes. And just because I was currently kind of putting together somewhat of a long-range build, so to speak, I was curious to see what they had to offer and at least give it a try. Now, like what you guys know on the channel, I rarely will make a video on products that I don't like, because if I don't see that there's value for you guys, I'd rather not put out the video. So there are also plenty of optics that I had received, I tested and they weren't great, and I just sent them back because I didn't find the value in them. This is going to fall into a very similar category of a video I've made in the past of this is, for now at least, a very budget-friendly option of something that works very well, but is going to be questionable about duty, so to speak, sort of use, as opposed to just kind of recreational use for a build you want to have fun with. I do think there's a lot of very cool benefits to this optic, and we're going to speak about the specs and features today and have you make a decision in regards to if this is something you want to run on your own firearm. So to go through some of the specs really quick of this optic, this is again the 5 to 25 by 56 first focal plane scope from Discovery Op. The eye relief is 3.4 inches, which when I was actually going to the prone position with this optic, I realized that the mount, which I'll speak about in a little bit more, the mount that it comes with is not set up for this particular optic, at least not well, and also for this, I guess, this platform. So it is a high rise optic. It's a 34, which means that you really want to have some kind of gap in between the bell of the front of the optic and the rail that's below it to make sure that it doesn't have under recoil any smacking of the bell. So it does work well in regards to height. However, because the eye relief is quite long, I was not able to get the optic far forward enough without going onto the main rail. So I stopped it right before the main rail, but for me, again, this wasn't really comfortable. So I did have to have my head pushed back just a little bit to be able to make sure that it's set well for me. That's not a very difficult fix. I do believe that they offer a mount that's a one-piece mount that you'd be able to mount the optic a little bit further forward, but this is the mount that came in the kit. So let's speak about that really quick because I thought that was really interesting. This comes with a lot of stuff in the box, a lot of stuff. So of the stuff that comes with is obviously the scope itself. It comes with the 34mm rings that you're able to use to mount. It comes with scope caps already. It comes with a lens cleaning cloth of some kind. It comes with tools. It comes with a leveler, which this particular leveler, in my experience, hasn't worked really well for me. I could be doing something wrong, I'm sure, but generally speaking, it doesn't work to level the optic really well, which is usually the most annoying part for me of setting up a scope, is making sure that it's level so that when you're actually going to zero it, you don't have any issues with leveling and making sure that your reticle is on point. So for me personally, that's always been an issue, but it does come with that in the box as well, which is really nice. It also comes with a throw lever, which is included, which makes obviously going from the 5 to 25 a much easier and smoother process. So it does come with a lot in the box. In regards to the turrets, it doesn't have any kind of locking mechanism, which means there isn't like a cap that goes on top that screws on to make sure it stays in place. It doesn't also have the kind of you pick it up and click it and put it back down kind of feature. It's just fully exposed. Now it did stay intact, but it's also very tactile. So if I put it next to the microphone, you can hear the sound. So it's very audible, very tactile. You really know that you're in the position that it's in, but it doesn't seem like there's any kind of like safety lock to make sure it doesn't get bumped out of place, which is something I'd be just cautioned about if you're going to make sure that you want your zero to be accurate. It does have a zero stop, which means once you get it to the point that you're happy with, you could return to zero in that way. But in regards to it accidentally bumped while you're walking around, it doesn't seem to have any safety mechanism in that regard. So it's just something worth pointing out. It does have illumination, and it also does have a parallax adjustment on the left side of the scope, which means that you'd be able to adjust it. I believe it's from 25 to infinity, which is going to be your adjustments availability. It is in 0.2 MRAD for the calculations. So again, just depending if you prefer MOA or over MRAD, this one in particular comes in MRAD. The length is 16.3 inches and comes in at a weight of 44.3 ounces. So not necessarily the lightest thing, However, it is a massive, massive scope. And with this current setup that I have, which is the KE arms lower, and the upper that I have, it was custom built, the upper with a Midwest Industries rail, it is still pretty light. So even with this scope on it, it's actually very easy to kind of move around. I'm actually curious to get a weight on it to see, even with the bipod, this is a very kind of handy system that's still working pretty well for me. In regards to durability, that's going to be something just over time I'm going to have to see. The things that I was impressed with this scope is the glass clarity is really, really nice. I would easily put it up against some of the more higher end scopes that I was able to test on the market. So that is significantly impressive when it comes to the scope quality in regards to the glass, as well as also the reticle on the inside. There's a few different reticle options that you're able to choose from. So this one in particular does kind of have the large design of all the different increments that you'd be able to make adjustments in, and it does work very nicely. I do need to get a more finer tuned zero. I was doing a zero at 100 yards, and again, it worked perfectly efficiently. I would be able to do it myself, probably a better zero, and probably get better ammunition. At the range that day, I was using like standard 55 grain ammo, which is not generally known to be the most precise stuff on the market. So if I want to just kind of take it a step further and zero it a bit better, I'm sure I'd be able to get much better results than what I did. I was able to take it out to around 160 yards with moderate performance. Again, I'm not going to say great, simply because on my end, I didn't zero it well enough and use the correct ammo to really give it the best experience to get to test it to its limits. So it's still something that I want to do more testing in the future with. This is still obviously just a very brief overview in regards to being able to obtain this optic and test it out. And again, for the price, which I believe this comes in at, with all the equipment, including the mounts and everything, around $400, that's a pretty good deal when it comes to what you're able to get. Again, I would still say this is really fine tunes onto the side of recreational use as opposed to kind of battle use. And in regards to, again, durability, it's going to take me some time to really get more rounds behind this and know that it's able to stay in place. The stuff that still, again, makes me a little uneasy is the fact that there isn't any prevention of the actual turrets moving out of place when you're like moving around with it. So that's going to be something you need to take into account. But again, it does come with scope caps. The throw lever is smooth when you're going from this 5 to 25, especially because it comes with the actual throw lever, which makes a very big difference. And overall, this is kind of, again, just a really interesting option to be able to look at. So I will be doing more testing in the future. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. This is Raziel Cohen. Thank you for watching.